I put my hands in front of my face when they were taking me down because there was a gravel road. I didn't want to be, my face to be smashed into the road.
So protecting yourself from falling when you fall down is considered resisting arrest.
Now they're starting to arrest people who, even from the most extreme liberal point of view, did nothing.
Right.
They're just rounding up people who the media can associate with the cause of liberty and just making up charges.
And so they just use this sandwich smear of showing pictures of people and then associating your husband with them with no direct link. Clearly just a blatant lie that the prosecutor just made up out of whole cloth. Hello, everybody. This is Ben McClintock and Enoch Moore of DefendingUtah.org. And this is the Naked Truth segment of the Liberty Lineup radio show. Today, we will be talking with the wife of political prisoner David Bundy. We'll be talking about upcoming Liberty events and what you can do to preserve liberty. Today's the day. Bring your friends. Find out that you can go to jail for taking pictures. We'd like to thank our show sponsors, formerly EOS Mobile, now Patriot Mobile, rebranded to reflect who you, our listeners, are. Patriot Mobile, the only cell phone service that gives you the peace of mind that your monthly bills are supporting only conservative candidates and causes of your choice, including this show. Call 877-367-7524. Be among the first 10 callers during the show today, and you'll receive a special offer if you mentioned the Liberty Lineup radio show. For more, call now 877-367-7524. Again, that is 877-367-7524. Just a reminder, you can listen to the Liberty Lineup online by downloading the K-Talk app to your smartphone or at k-talk.com. Great reception wherever you are. Become part of our grassroots movement by signing up at libertylineup.com, where you can also make a donation to keep this radio show on the air. Help us spread liberty around the world. And today, we mentioned earlier, we've got David Bundy. If you remember who Cliven Bundy is, he's the son of Cliven Bundy, the rancher down in Nevada. David Bundy is a Utah resident, and we'll be talking with his wife later on about what happened in court yesterday. This is exclusive right here on K-Talk, the Liberty Lineup radio show.
In fact, it was last week on this show when we got live breaking news that Dave Bundy had been arrested. And that was really a significant turn in this whole Bundy, Finicum, Liberty story because the previous arrests, they also were unjust. But this one, now they're starting to arrest people who even from the most extreme liberal point of view, did nothing.
Right.
They're just rounding up people who the media can associate with the cause of liberty and just making up charges. Like when my kids say, "You put me in the corner for no reason."
Right.
Okay?
This is literally no reason.
This is literally no reason. There's nothing. So they're just going after anyone that they think will help the propaganda against liberty.
Right. Exactly. And so that's going to be a huge thing. So let everybody know that that we're going to have David Bundy's wife on the air a little later on in the show. And as we continue on with the show, later on, just to let you know again that the wife of David Bundy, who was recently arrested and yesterday was arraigned in Salt Lake City for the crime of taking pictures of BLM officers, she'll be on to talk about the hearing yesterday and the things that they said. But it's something that we talk about in Defending Utah that makes us different than pretty much any other organization, especially focused on right here in Utah, is that we focus on that there is an enemy, and it's not just those pesky Democrats, and it's not just those pesky Republicans. It's this idea and this fact that is found in The Art of War by Sun Tzu, where he says that if you understand yourself and you understand your enemy, you will not be imperiled in 100 battles. And unfortunately, most people don't understand the enemy, that there are wolves in sheep's clothing. The wolf in sheep's clothing is always going to be more dangerous than the outward wolf. Now, probably most of our listeners will recognize, liberals, people that are more socialist, progressives, are going to be the outward wolves. They're the obvious ones that are trying to destroy our liberty. And the ones that they're fooled by are those wolves in sheep's clothing, those that speak the conservative line, that talk all the right principles, but their actions are something completely different. And they are designed to take us off the path. They say all the right things until it comes to the solution. Then that they take you off the path, or they kind of just take you. They just say one of them just a little bit off to get you to misunderstand a principle and to apply it in the wrong way. And this we find out in Helaman. This is a multi-generational conspiracy. Yes, conspiracy. Helaman chapter 6 verses 26 through 27 says, "Now behold, these secret oaths and covenants did not come forth unto Gadianton from the records which were delivered unto Helaman, but behold, they were put into the heart of Gadianton by the same being who did entice our first parents to partake of the forbidden fruit. Yes, that same being who did plot with Cain, and he did plot with Cain and his followers from that time forth." This is a satanic conspiracy that we are experiencing to this day. This has been McClintock with Enoch Moore of DefendingUtah.org, and this is the Thursday segment of the Liberty Lineup, The Naked Truth. Think right and wrong, not right and left, on AM 630 K-Talk.com. More on secret combinations today when we get back from the break. We are back. This is Ben McClintock with my co-host,
Enoch Moore
of DefendingUtah.org, and we are on K-Talk Radio, AM 630, K-Talk.com with the Liberty Lineup Naked Truth segment. Think right and wrong, not right and left. Sponsored by Patriot Mobile. Join our grassroots network to get our updates and alerts. Just go to LibertyLineup.com. That's LibertyLineup.com and sign up. And if you like what you're hearing, support Liberty with a donation of any amount. That's LibertyLineup.com. You can also like and share our Facebook page, The Liberty Lineup Radio Show. And before we went to the break, we were getting into modern-day secret combinations and what their link is to ancient days.
Yeah, and we've had several guests on over the length of this show discussing those. We had James Perloff, who talked about the Shadows of Power. He had a book, The Shadows of Power. We had Hiding in Plain Sight by Ken Bowers. There have been a lot of very well-researched books into this subject that documents exactly what we're talking about.
This isn't theory, and I like to avoid theories, and there's things that we need to be careful of with these things, because either on accident or on purpose, there are a lot of false things out there. You talk about shape-shifting lizard people, talk about that the president is going to cancel the election and declare martial law. That one right there happens like every 8 years, basically, whenever it's time for the guy to be booted out of office and move on to the next one. It's a lack of understanding of how the conspiracy works when people buy those things.
What better way to hide a real conspiracy than in a sea or an ocean full of goofy conspiracy theories?
Right. To discredit the whole idea. And so it's important that we understand that. So we wanted to kind of go over and build a proper understanding of these secret combinations, and that there are evil people working together. Just the whole concept. If anybody denies a conspiracy, first of all, it's a real crime. People are charged with conspiracy all the time. So all that a conspiracy is two or more people working together in secret to do evil. So a birthday party is not a surprise birthday party is not a conspiracy, because they're not working together to do something
evil. It wasn't
evil.
evil intent.
Right.
But if it was a surprise
murder
mugging or something, right, that was a conspiracy.
Right.
They conspired to
do
knock
something
someone over the
evil.
head and take his wallet or something.
Exactly. And we understand that this is it's not just people randomly just popping up actually just to do something evil. I mean, there are people out there that for their own selfish reasons do evil things, but the conspiracy, there is the conspiracy, and we understand from the scriptures that it actually is inspired by and directed by Satan himself from the scripture Helaman, chapter 6. That same being who did plot with Cain, and he did plot with Cain and his followers from that time forth.
And we even have Bruce R. McConkie in 1980 said, Gadianton robbers now fill the judgment seats in many nations. And evil power seeks to overthrow the freedom of all lands, nations, and countries.
That's in Ether. And in Moses, we read that it'll be said in time to come that these combinations were had from Cain. From the days of Cain, there was a secret combination, and their works were in dark. So that it's a direct link from the days of Cain to today. It's an unbroken chain, basically. And if there's ever like a falling away, we talked in Helaman, it talks about how Satan came and revealed himself to these people and was able to restore his secret combination to them.
It's interesting that scripture you just read there. What was that reference? Moses?
That's Moses chapter 5, verses 25 and 51.
And so he's kind of looking, so he's coming from a perspective in the past, looking to the future. And he says, it shall be said in the time to come. So he's saying, you who are reading this sometime way in the future for me, which is us today, this is what you will say about this concept. You will say, oh, these abominations, they've been had ever since the time of Cain. Right. So it's interesting that how, as he's looking forward and he's saying, this is how we should recognize it. Exactly.
And these things we hear about today. In General Conference in 1995, Joseph Wirthlin said, the Lord has warned repeatedly against the evils and designs of conspiring men in our day who would what? Who would enslave us.
General Conference, October 1995. 1995.
Yep. And then the Lord Himself in the Revelation, what we find in the Word of Wisdom in section 89, the first actual verse of the Revelation itself, the Lord says that in consequence and evils of designs which do and will exist in the hearts of conspiring men in the last days. So the Lord Himself is warning about these secret combinations and telling us that these things this is why He gives us the warnings that He does, is because we need to understand and we can act upon it. It's not just ain't it awful, but He's saying you need to know about this, and so you know what to do.
You need to act upon it.
You need to act upon it. Is it just like the Apostle James says, we need to be doers of the word and not hearers only. All of the things that we're taught about aren't just so that we're the most informed person in the concentration camp, so to say. Information doesn't do you a bit of good. If you know that you have to eat to survive, but you don't eat, what good did that knowledge of eating do for you?
Everything the Scriptures give us is intended to be acted upon.
Exactly.
In some form. It's for our benefit so that we can become something different, whether we're talking about any principle of the gospel or that the Scriptures are trying to teach us.
And that's something I think sometimes we fail to remember or to really comprehend, is that this isn't just, I'm the smartest person in the room. It's Heavenly Father wants us to act and to be a doer. Joseph Fielding Smith, in the book The Doctrines of Salvation, Volume 3, pages 314 and 315, says one mastermind is governing the nations. One mastermind is governing the nations. So let that sink in for just a second.
One mastermind is governing the nations.
It is not the President of the United States. It is not the king or government of England or of any land. It is Satan himself. That's huge.
But you can't really misunderstand that. It's pretty clear. To the point.
To the point.
Joseph Fielding Smith.
Joseph Fielding Smith and Doctrines of Salvation, yeah. And in General Conference of 1988, one of the last conference that Ezra Taft Benson spoke at publicly, he gave this warning. He says, a secret combination that seeks to overthrow the freedom of all lands, nations, and countries is increasing its evil influence and control over America and the entire world. Now, this is during the time of perestroika. I was in elementary school when this stuff was going on, and so I wasn't really paying attention to it. But if you'll remember or you'll listen for a second, perestroika was the Soviet Union was pretending to become more westernized. They were loosening up restrictions and saying that we're going to be more like you, and this was a time when people thought that the Soviet Union was weakening. And so when people think of the communist conspiracy. Well, we understand here that people thought that the conspiracy, when you thought that the conspiracy was just communism, was actually weakening. But this was a warning during this time to people to understand that, no, they're not weakening. He says that they're strengthening at this point in time. There was a book called The Perestroika Deception warning about what this all was all about.
And they were becoming more westernized, so it wasn't like they were pretending to become westernized, but the reason they were doing it was for a front, was right. to make the appearance of if they gave up, as if communism was dying. Exactly.
And so that, well, not just communism, but people wouldn't worry about the conspiracy. There was no opposition anymore. Communism was dead, so we didn't. When our own elected officials, like even here in Utah, that promote the Communist Manifesto in their activities, we think, oh, well, it's nothing to worry about anymore because communism's dead. Understanding this, as J. Reuben Clark, his story is really interesting. He was a member of the first presidency during two administrations, Heber J. Grant and David O. McKay. And when he was called to be in the first presidency, he had never served in a church position. He was not a bishop. He wasn't a stake president. He wasn't a member of the 70. He was the ambassador to Mexico. And because of his church, because of his government duties, he actually, hadn't been really attending. He was a believer and all that kind of stuff, but he hadn't really been attending church. And he was able to witness a lot of the things that the conspiracy was involved in firsthand. And so he was going to the first presidency and warning them about it. And so on a rare occasion, he was one of the rare occasions, because of this, he was called to be in the first presidency, to be an advisor to the presidents of the church. And in General Conference in 1949, he warned, this is October of 49, he warned, do not think that all these usurpations, intimidations, and impositions are being done to us through inadvertency or mistake. The government really getting down on us and oppressing us, this isn't being done on accident, he says. The whole course is deliberately planned and carried out. Its purpose is to destroy the Constitution and our constitutional government. All these laws that they're passing in the state legislature and in the federal government, they're not being done on accident. They're done with a specific purpose in mind. And this is something, they use different words for this over time. And back in 2009, I don't have the date in front of me, but
recently.
Thomas S. Monson said that political machinations ruin the stability of nations. What's a machination? These are conspiracy that he's talking about.
Political machinations. So they just, it's the same term, or it's a different term for the same thing.
For the same exact thing. And so this is over and over again that we're being warned about these things. Let's listen to Ezra Taft Benson. He encouraged us all to be able to understand this modern-day Seer combination. We got the scriptures that talk about it and what it's all about, but who are they? Especially nationally and internationally, who are they working? How can we find out about it? What can we do to know about it? And in General Conference, which is really rare for them to encourage anybody to read anything but like the scriptures, but it happens 3 or 4 times that they've recommended books that aren't like the scriptures, the standard works. And in this conference talk in 1972, Ezra Taft Benson recommends we all read his book.
Joseph Smith said that the Book of Mormon was the keystone of our religion and the most correct book on earth. This most correct book on earth states that the downfall of 2 great American civilizations came as a result of secret conspiracies whose desire was to overthrow the freedom of the people. And they have caused the destruction of this people of whom I am now speaking, says Moroni, and also the destruction of the people of Nephi. Now undoubtedly Moroni could have pointed out many factors that led to the destruction of the people. But notice how he singled out the secret combinations, just as the church today could point out many threats to peace, prosperity, and the spread of God's work, but it has singled out the greatest threat as the great conspiracy. There is no conspiracy theory in the Book of Mormon. It is a conspiracy fact. And along this line, I would highly recommend to you a new book entitled None Dare Call It, Conspiracy by Gary Allen.
So he says that we should read the book None Dare Call It, Conspiracy by Gary Allen. So that was back in the 1970s. And even more recently, a more in-depth book would be Shadows of Power that kind of covers those same things. And
you can hear this on LDS.org. It's not a conspiracy website.
It's not a conspiracy website. Right after the break, we'll be talking with David Bundy's wife, Marylynn Bundy, to talk about what was going on. Why is he in jail? Thanks to our sponsor, Patriot Mobile, where your monthly bill goes to support this show and only conservative candidates and causes of your choice. Go to patriotmobile.com for more information and mention the Liberty Laying-Up radio show. This is Ben McClintock and Enoch Moore. We are on The Naked Truth. Think right and wrong, not right and left. Right back with Marylynn Bundy. Welcome back to the Liberty Lineup. This is the second hour of The Naked Truth, where we think right and wrong, not right and left. We'll be right back with Marylynn Bundy, the wife of David Bundy, who was recently arrested and arraigned. More on that.
For no reason.
We'd like to thank our show sponsor, formerly EOS Mobile, now Patriot Mobile, rebranded to reflect who you, our listeners, are. Patriot Mobile, the only cell phone service that gives you the peace of mind that your monthly bills are supporting only conservative candidates and causes of your choice, including this show. Call 877-367-7524. Be among the first 10 callers during the show today, and you'll get a special offer if you mention the Liberty Lineup radio show. Call now, 877-367-7524. That's 877-367-7524. For more information, go to patriotmobile.com. Also, just want to remind you that you can listen to the Liberty Lineup online by downloading the K-Talk app to your smartphone or at k-talk.com. Great reception wherever you are. Become part of our grassroots movement by signing up at thelibertylineup.com, where you can also make a donation to keep this radio show on the air. Help us spread liberty around the world. Also, if you've got the iHeart Radio app, you can look up Defending Utah on there as well. And we've got a lot of our past shows and segments on that. And
for the Thursday show.
For the Thursday show, the Defending Utah show.
On iHeartRadio. And YouTube.
And
Twitter. We tweet on Twitter.
And Spreaker.
That's a less known one.
Everywhere.
We are.
You can't get away from us, no matter how much you want to.
Absolutely.
We're there. We could almost be considered stalkers. We're so many places at once.
We are Elinsky in reverse.
We need to get on to, though, our guest. We've got a caller. We've got Marylynn Bundy, who is the wife of David Bundy.
It's on.
And you are, thanks so much for joining us, Marylynn.
Well, thank you for letting me come on.
This is, I want to give some people some background about who your husband is and what kind of led up to the things that happened the last week. I mean, it's been crazy.
Okay.
About what his father, Cliven Bundy, what was going on down there, and how that relates to your husband and where we're at today.
Okay. Do you want me to give the background?
Please, yes. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Okay. No, you're fine. My husband is a son of Cliven Bundy, and this all stems back from the fact that happened in the Nevada in 2014, in April of 2014.
So almost 2 years ago now.
Yes, almost 2 years ago. They're trying to get they have indicted my husband on the same charges. There's 14 charges that go back from what things happened at the Bundy Ranch. And if you don't know, but my husband was the man that was on the side of the road, against his car with his iPad, taking pictures of the BLM coming down off of a hill. He wasn't blocking. There wasn't a roadblock. Yesterday he was portrayed as somehow he was able to get 2 white trucks to block the road, plus his car. I'm not quite sure how that happens when there's only one person to drive. But he was on the side of the road. We have pictures to prove it with his iPad, taking pictures. And they asked him to leave. He said, "I'm practicing my First Amendment rights." And, of course, they asked him again, and he said the same thing. He wasn't doing anything wrong. But because he was recording them and he didn't leave, they tackled him, threw him to the ground, put a boot in the back of his neck. A BLM person had a boot on the back of his neck, pounding it into the ground. And then after that, they arrested him, took him to a holding yard, paraded around him, and while he sat in the back of the truck being handcuffed. Then they took him to the prison down in Las Vegas to be prosecuted. Now
prosecuted for taking a picture with his iPad.
Exactly.
Well, so they were really upset that he was taking pictures that was evidence against some of their crimes.
What were they doing that he was taking pictures of?
They were there was a whole bunch of them. I'm not exactly sure how many. I believe he said that there was 10 officers just coming down, but they were coming down off of a mountain, protecting the cowboy that was coming down with his father's cows. And they didn't like that he was taking pictures. They didn't like that, he has that iPad that shows them pointing their guns at him.
Mm-hmm.
And as of this day, we've never gotten the iPad back yet.
Wow.
But my husband, this needs to be known, that he was released from the prison without even going to court because he did nothing wrong. The governor, the county commissioners there, they all said, "You can't do that to an individual. What are you going to charge him with?"
Right.
But somehow my husband, to them yesterday in the court, said that...
Well, that's... I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I want to kind of take this one step at a time. So he's in prison in Nevada, and the governor intercedes on his behalf.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Says
I'm
you
not
can't
100%.
do that. Right.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay.
But I know that people spoke out. That people spoke out. They were concerned. They made calls to different agencies. For some reason, my husband, the mood changed in the room when the prosecutors were talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him a tuna fish sandwich sack lunch, and they sent him on his way. They gave him 2 tickets, BLM citation tickets. One was resisting arrest. The other one was not dispersing when told to do so. And the thing about the resisting arrest, my husband said, "I put my hands in front of my face when they were taking me down because there was a gravel road. I didn't want to be, my face to be smashed into the road."
Right.
And they're saying that was resisting arrest.
So protecting yourself from falling when you fall down is considered resisting arrest in this case.
Exactly.
Holy cow.
That's what they say. Now, he got those 2 pink tickets.
So I'm sorry. So resisting arrest because he was protecting his face, and then the other ticket was for?
Dispersing when not told to do so.
Oh, you reverse that. Not dispersing when told to do so, you mean?
Yes.
Gotcha. So he didn't leave when he was told to leave. And was he on public property? Was there a reason? Would they have legally been able to tell him to just leave? I mean, can't people walk down the street?
I've always thought when you're pulled off the side of the road, that is public property. I always felt that that's what our taxes go towards.
Right.
To pay for those roads. And there's an encroachment there, that easement there, that is private property. It's just, it's what we pay our taxes for.
Right. So he was just exercising his First Amendment rights on public property, and because they didn't like what he was doing, they were telling him to move, and he was like, I'm paraphrasing, he was, "You guys don't have the right to tell me to do that. I'm going to continue to be here.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. Go ahead.
And on those 2 tickets, I called on them for, I would say, about 4 months, and I have the dates I wrote down. And every time I called, those tickets were never in the system. His citations, there was no such thing.
So you would try to call them up and try to take care of it, try to resolve the issue, whether there's a fine or a court date or whatever. And
yes.
So when you tried to do that, whenever you called, they weren't in the system for them to be taken care of.
Exactly.
Okay. Wow.
The only other thing my husband was really a part of is on Saturday when the big day was, when the sheriff came and said that they were going to give the land back to the people. And when everyone started leaving to go get the cows or to go under the bridge. My husband, there's a picture of him. He's on the side of our truck that we drove in, I was there with him, was nowhere to be found, stopping traffic or anything on the interstate. But my husband was there talking to the sheriff. The sheriff had his hand on my husband, and he's asking my husband to help calm down the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband he told the sheriff that he would do the best he could, but he didn't know how long he could help diffuse the situation.
Right.
And he went under the bridge, and that's exactly what he did. He went to the fence. The Dan Love, the BLM, whatever you want to call him, asked for the Bundy boys to come and talk with him. My husband, some of the others didn't want to go, and I totally understand why. But my husband felt the Spirit tell him to go over the fence. And he said, he went over the fence, but he said, I will only go if the media comes with me.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when he took the media with him. And he went and talked with Dan Love. Right there it shows that he was trying to diffuse the situation, calm it down.
So he was cooperating fully with what the sheriff's deputy had asked him to do.
Exactly.
Is it that exact scene you just described in Dennis Michael Lynch's film?
Yes, it is.
Right. A Day at Bundy's. I have that film and I've watched it. It is a film every American needs to see.
Just to be able to understand what actually happened that day. So your husband is cooperating fully with the sheriff's deputy and what he's asked of him, and but to make sure that he's protected, he's asking the media to come with him. Am I understanding correctly?
Yes, because he knows that day that he was not protected when there was no one around him.
Right.
When he was, shoved and beaten to the ground. So this time he made sure someone was with him.
So he's just kind of going off of experience and the need to have witnesses there to make sure that his rights are protected.
Yes, for sure.
That's amazing. And so can you go ahead and continue on? What's going on after that? There at the event. I mean, there in Nevada.
Well, after that, my husband came out after talking to Dan Love, and
we've got just a minute before we go to the break. Just want to warn you.
Okay, so he came out and he come and told the people what was going to happen, that the BLM was going to leave, that they had to give him time, and that they were going to be able to let the cows go. And all around my husband this whole entire time was the county sheriff's deputies, state troopers. They were there with him. And if he was such a dangerous man and such a threat, do you think that they would allow him and they would just sit there and talk with him and converse with him?
Exactly. So he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't impeding them. He was actually cooperating with them, and they didn't see him as a threat to them. All of those things.
Yes, exactly. And they did nothing to him that day. They talked, they conversed. The audience there calmed down, and they waited for the BLM to disperse.
To go ahead and disperse. Okay. So we're heading off to the break. So we're speaking with Marylynn Bundy, who is the wife of recently imprisoned David Bundy. This is Ben McClintock with Enoch Moore from defendingutah.org. This is the Naked Truth segment of the Liberty Lineup, where we think right and wrong, not right and left. We'll be right back to talk about what happened this week with Marylynn Bundy. This is Ben McClintock with my co-host
Enoch Moore
of defendingutah.org on K-Talk Radio, AM 630, k-talk.com, with the Liberty Lineup Naked Truth segment where we think right and wrong, not right and left. The Thursday show sponsored by Patriot Mobile, the cell phone service for conservatives. And we have on the phone with us Marylynn Bundy, who is the wife of David Bundy, who was recently arrested for taking pictures of the BLM 2 years ago. Taking pictures of the BLM 2 years ago. He was arrested a week ago today, right, Marylynn?
Yes, it was Thursday.
So this is just, we broke that last week, and now just yesterday, your husband appeared in court, and we just got word that, before we get into that, that the Bundy family is having some rallies today in Nevada. Do you know anything about that you want to share with us?
Yes, I think Clive Bundy, the father, is going before a judge today.
In Nevada?
Nevada. And so they're having rallies down there.
Okay. Good to know. So kind of tell us what, so basically, I mean, really, just if anybody's just tuning in, we're David Bundy, son of Clive Bundy. He was arrested in 2014 for taking pictures of the BLM, and which is just insane all by itself, and that it took 2 years for them to follow up on that after being released because there was nothing to really charge him with, and then he gets arrested last week. Tell us about that.
Okay, last Thursday my husband left my parents' home that we're living with right now to drop off our daughter at the elementary school so she could go on a field trip, actually, to the Capitol. He was then going to our property where we are building a home for our family and to unload some wood from his truck, from our brother's truck, actually. I received a call a little after 7 in the morning from one of our employees asking me what was going on with our property. I said, what do you mean? He said they were not allowed to enter down the street to our property, and that there was 15 FBI cars and lights that were down the street. Immediately I was sick and knew exactly what was going on. I immediately got my dad and we rushed there to the property, and I got there at the very end when the end of the convoy of cars were just leaving. I talked with the FBI and asked them what they were doing. They said that they were doing their jobs, that they had a warrant for his arrest. I immediately tried to locate the local sheriff's office to see if they would help me stop the FBI from leaving the county.
Right.
I was not successful in that operation.
Did they turn you down? Did you not be able to get a hold of them? What happened with that?
Well, I was not actually able to talk to the sheriff. One of his deputies or sergeants that was there, he didn't really understand what was going on. He didn't understand how he could help me. They were confused. They really took their time in helping me. Later I found out that the sheriff didn't even know anything about it, what was going on. And since then he has tried to help me write letters and different things towards my husband. I guess my biggest concern is I think it's important that everybody knows their Constitution, and anyone in a sheriff's office should know their constitutional rights as a sheriff.
So did you know that he had a warrant, that they were coming after him, or was this a complete shock?
No, complete shock. Why would they come after my husband after 2 years for doing absolutely nothing?
Right. He was cooperating with the police. When the 2 tickets he received that you mentioned before the break, you guys were trying to take care of it, and you called regularly to find out what it was, and they always said it wasn't in the system. They didn't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
right?
And they were citations. I don't know. I guess they're tickets, but yeah,
citations,
never on his
yeah.
Yeah, never on his record, nothing. He had a clean record.
And so they come to charge him, and was it yesterday that you found out for the first time what the charges were after the arrest, or?
They told me, so that was on Thursday. They took him to the Salt Lake County Jail. On Friday, he appeared.
So they drove from Delta to all the way up to Salt Lake to put him in jail?
Yes, where if he's being indicted in Nevada's not that much farther than Salt Lake.
But it's going north. It's going backwards. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's going the wrong direction.
Bizarre.
Yes, he did appear before the judge, and they wanted to do the bail right there to let him go.
Right.
But the prosecutor said that they needed more time to get more evidence against my husband.
I remember when we spoke before, maybe I misunderstood. I thought that that you guys were pretty confident that he was going to be released on bail, correct?
Yes. Yes, we did.
What made you confident? What made you think that they were going to be able to release your husband on bail?
Well, he did nothing wrong.
Well,
he was innocent.
Shouldn't be arrested in the first place.
Yes, they have an innocent man sitting there in a prison in the United States of America.
It's insane.
Innocent. Yeah.
And so did people give you assurances? Did the prosecutor or did the governor, or were there people that had told you things that also kind of gave you that idea? Or were you just thinking that there's no reason for them to hold him, he's not dangerous, all he did was take pictures? What kind of made you think that, besides just him being innocent, that they were going to be able to give him bail?
Well, I figured because he didn't have a record for the past 2 years. He didn't do anything wrong. I had the assistant to the governor reach out to me and with concerns. Other state representatives reach out to me with concerns. I had the local mayor here in Delta write a letter about my husband, about the family that we are, that we're abiding law citizens. The sheriff even wrote a very nice letter about my husband, that he felt safe for my husband to be in this community. My husband's done no harm in this community. I felt, what on earth could they have on my husband
to
keep him in there?
Right.
Well, what they're doing now is they're just making stuff up to throw more people who are associated with defending liberty under the bus.
Yes.
And so, what have your state reps said? Have they commented on this? I haven't heard any elected official publicly make statements about this unjust imprisonment.
No, I haven't either. Like I said, the assistant called me. He was concerned what was going on. He asked me questions, but that was about it. That's as far as it went.
That's pretty disturbing.
Yes. The state representatives, they act like there's nothing they can do. I mean, they've received so many calls, but I've gotten emails back, and they just said, hey, there's not a whole lot we can do right now. It's not, he didn't do these in Nevada. We are in Utah, and this all took place in Nevada.
They could at least step forward and publicly condemn the actions of the FBI and defend your husband. I mean, that's the least they could do.
Exactly. Whereas we are citizens here of the state of Utah. We pay taxes here. We are law-abiding people. And they have here in Utah a prisoner that is innocent sitting in a jail cell for no reason in the state of Utah.
Is he still in Salt Lake?
Yes, he's in Weber County.
On Weber County. Well,
yeah, they moved him. You had to move him a little farther, you know.
Moving him around. Good grief. I encourage, I hope this isn't going against what you would like, but I would call on the governor to issue the state police to go and free your husband right now.
Well, that would be great.
That's what he could do. They say that they can't do anything. Well, baloney. The state police can go there and free him right now.
Right.
Yes, that would be awesome. It was interesting when I went to the jail last week. There was 4 other ladies there that asked me, what's your husband in here for? I explained it to them. I asked them, have you heard of the Bundys? Most people don't even listen to the news anymore.
Right.
Because they're so fed up with how this country is being controlled.
Totally.
Or run. All those 4 people, none of them had no idea what I was talking about.
Wow. Crazy. So,
yes.
So he has the hearing yesterday. Tell us about what went down with the hearing. I want to hear it from you. I've heard some just insane things that went on yesterday.
Well, let's just say this. It was the most deceitful thing I have ever attended in my whole entire life. I've never been to a place that they had so much wickedness in one room. My husband loves America. He loves the Constitution. He loves his church. He believes in God. And he also believes in the government. What he doesn't believe is in the overreaching of the government. The Constitution even states that the government should only have limited powers. Yesterday, they portrayed my husband as the complete opposite. They actually said he does not believe in the Constitution. He does not love his church. He does not like any government. And
they said that he didn't like the Constitution or his church. That's pretty low and disgusting of them to even try and go there. How dare they?
Yeah, how dare they? They had no proof. My husband, he believes in the government. He votes. He pays his taxes. We have our children enrolled in school. He is a contractor. He pays his licenses and fees and insurances. My husband is also a flight instructor. He is licensed under the FAA. Isn't that the federal government? To say that he doesn't believe in the government is unbelievable and unmanageable.
Clearly, just a blatant lie that the prosecutor just made up out of whole cloth.
Well, what happened is the night before, late at night, the prosecutors, the government, the federal government, came up with a whole bunch of information on my husband.
Mm-hmm.
They were all lies. They came up with a 40-page PowerPoint presentation where they had pictures of militia on those PowerPoint were holding guns. Somehow, yesterday, they portrayed my husband as the leader of the militia.
Holy cow.
They said that he guided and instructed those militiamen where to lay on the freeway, where to stand, and how to position themselves. My husband was not in one of those pictures. My husband did not know any of those militiamen, but somehow he has become the leader of this Bundy standoff.
Holy cow. And so they just use this sandwich smear of showing pictures of people and then associating your husband with them with no direct link. No, like you said, they weren't pictured together. There's no actual evidence that they were linked together.
Nothing.
And even if they were just, those are people who were within their rights to be militia. But even so, the fact that
that's irrelevant to David.
To what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
It's relevant.
Exactly. The Second Amendment right, the First Amendment right, none of that was brought up.
But David wasn't even associated with them. You said he was cooperating with the locals, with the sheriff's deputy, and getting to help the situation get calmed down, not leading a militia.
Yes, but somehow he was leading the militia, and yesterday they said he was not. It was a little too late to say that he's the peacemaker. It's a little too late to say that he was trying to work with the sheriff. Once you position the militia in their places, it's just a little too late to try to get forgiveness.
Wow. Well, it's a little bit too late for us to forgive you for an accusation we made up out of the blue.
Yes.
That's just, it's outrageous.
You know, this reminds me of Alma 10:17. Oh, ye wicked and perverse generation, ye lawyers and hypocrites, for ye are laying the foundations of the devil. For ye are laying traps and snares to catch the holy ones of God.
Exactly. Thank you.
Wow.
Another thing that they said, the reason why he can't leave is because he's a flight instructor. They were upset that he didn't report. I mean, he's a pilot. They're afraid that he's going to, get in an airplane and leave.
Well, that's what I thought was crazy right there was because he has a pilot's license, he's a flight risk. Well,
yeah.
So does that mean that anybody with a driver's license is a flight risk because they can drive away?
Exactly.
I mean, that the judge would actually accept that as a legitimate excuse is unconscionable.
Yes. The feeling in the room was just terrible. Another reason why there was all kinds of, I could go on and on. It went on forever. I actually raised my hand one time to protest because I was so upset. I guess you can't do that in court. But
that's something that we've written about is there's no free speech. The First Amendment is null and void in the court.
No, my husband tried to turn around because he was so upset.
Yeah.
To turn around to look at me. The U.S. Marshals yelled at him and hurried and flipped him right around.
Wow.
I mean, he's already chained up. What's he going to do?
Yeah, really.
And another thing is Facebook. They're trying to attack people's Facebook pages, the government.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a post, and I am the one that posts a lot of things on my husband's Facebook page. My husband is not a Facebooker. I'm the one that will get on there and share things because I don't have my own account. I shared a shirt that their family was trying to sell to earn money for Cliven's funds. The shirt on it said, whatever it takes. So what they said about my husband is that he has not learned his lesson from 2 years ago, and that he is going to do whatever it takes to hurt federal officers.
Wow.
And that is how they convey to the judge that my husband is dangerous. Because of a post he never even posted. It was a post that I posted about my family's Facebook page.
Well,
Nothing to do with my husband.
Hopefully they don't arrest you for that. That's
I
just
thought this was a free
for a
country.
T-shirt.
I thought we could say what we wanted to say.
Well, obviously, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Constitution, the federal government is an insurrection and a rebellion against the Constitution, unfortunately, as we can see in your husband's case. And
yes.
it's crazy that they're going after people for their Facebook, especially a T-shirt. As we go to the break, can you stay over the break to the next segment?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. As we go to the break, tell us how we can help you. You've got an account set up? Real quick, as we're going out.
Okay, yes, I do.
I'm sorry, we'll do it when we get back. And we'll also post it on our
you.
Facebook page. This is Ben McClintock and Enoch Moore, right back with Marylynn Bundy, the wife of a political prisoner, David Bundy. This is Ben McClintock with my co-host,
Enoch Moore
of defendingutah.org. We're back on K-Talk Radio, AM 630, k-talk.com with the Liberty Lineup and Naked Truth segment, where we think right and wrong, not right and left. Sponsored by Patriot Mobile, the cell phone service for conservatives. And we've been speaking for the last couple of segments with Marylynn Bundy, the wife of political prisoner David Bundy, who was literally imprisoned for taking pictures. This is his crime. He took pictures of BLM agents. That's the end. That's it. Marylynn, thank you for being able to join us for so long.
Yes, you're welcome.
I know this must be just really, really tough for you, so I appreciate you, and I commend you for being able to talk to people about it. People need to know about it straight from you, and to let more people know about it, we want to make sure that they know that this interview will be on our YouTube channel, and we'll be able to share it with people so we can get the word out. And before we went to the break, I wanted to let people know about how they can help your family in your husband's defense. And I want to get that, and we'll post that everywhere as well. But let people know, how can we help you in your defense?
Well, we have started a page because the cost of lawyers' fees, even being in a jail, you would think that you were on vacation for the amount it costs.
Right.
We started a page on Funded Justice under my husband's name.
Is that on Facebook, or is it a .com, or what's the page?
It's under Funded, let me see, Funded Justice.
Oh, Funded Justice?
Yes.
.com?
FundedJustice.com, and it's the name is Innocent Help Free Dave Bundy Fund.
Okay.
And I can share that link
Innocent Free
with you.
Dave Bundy Fund on the website again?
Funded Justice.
Funded Justice. And so we'll post that on our Facebook page, Liberty Lineup and Defending Utah, and we'll be doing that on our website, defendingutah.org, and we want to help you out as much as we can, because this is one of the clearest examples of a travesty of justice. Somebody that is literally a political prisoner in jail only for taking pictures, just for what they've said. And they're being accused of things that they didn't even say, and that there's no proof of that they've involved with trumped up charges. Let's get into some of the things that they talked about. You mentioned earlier that they meant that they were going after him because of a T-shirt that was posted on his Facebook page that he didn't even post.
Yes, it was me that posted that.
Right.
I just shared that from a family's website, trying to help their family earn some money for their funds, for their lawyer funds. And on the back of the shirt, or on the front, I don't even know, it says whatever it takes is a motto.
Right.
So now they're using that against my husband, that since he shared that, but he didn't even share it, that he's willing to do whatever it takes to take down federal employees.
Gotcha. Accusing, but basically implying that he would do them physical harm.
Yes, exactly. And that's why he wasn't released yesterday.
That is so frustrating. They are just making up everything, a completely fraudulent case in every way. Not even like they took facts and sort of half twisted them. They're just making stuff up
out of whole cloth.
Just completely he's the leader of this militia.
That is why they needed a weekend to try to get a team together. The first day when he went before a judge, there was only 2 people there, the prosecutor and I think there was somebody else helping her. When they came back yesterday, they had a whole lot of people there to help him. They had the whole weekend plus Monday and Tuesday to find whatever they could find against him.
Mm-hmm. So, is the lawyer that you have now is she a public defender, or is she one that you've hired, or?
She was a public defender.
Okay.
She's no longer. She's done her job. My husband really looking for a lawyer. My husband is going to be housed here in Utah until the U.S. Marshals take him to Nevada.
Do you know when that would be?
No, I don't think they would tell me.
So he'll be in Weber until they transfer him to Nevada?
Yes, I believe so.
Fascinating. How come they've moved him around so much? They get him from Delta for charges in Nevada, and then they go to Salt Lake, and then they go to Weber, and then they go to Salt Lake, and then they go to Weber again? Or?
Yeah, I don't understand what they're doing to him. But I think it's part of their plan. I'm not really sure.
Craziness.
Why doesn't the Weber County Sheriff go do something about it? He can get it. You don't even need the state police.
You don't even need the state. Well, that'd be good. The governor needs to send out the state police to free him now. The sheriff of Weber County needs to go out there and send his deputies out there to free him now. If not, I say, this is me. I'll be the one held accountable for this. They're culpable for the false imprisonment of an innocent man right now because they won't take action themselves.
Yes, they're scared of the federal government. And
bearing false witness.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't. No one wants to do anything. One person told me that it's just not a popular subject. I'm like, how can you say it's not a popular subject? This is an American person who has 6 children and a wife who is an innocent man. He caused no harm on anybody. That's
one of the most disturbing statements. Who cares if it's popular? This is obviously right. Think about what's right, not what's popular. That's disgusting. So if they were in Nazi Germany, it wasn't popular to talk against Hitler, then we better keep our mouths shut. That's ridiculous.
Let me tell you something else about all this, because I see it on the people's comments. My husband does not own any grazing fees. People need to get over that. We don't own a ranch. We have a construction company. We have never been court-ordered or anything to pay grazing fees. A lot of people cannot get past that. They feel like we are living off the government. We haven't done what's right. We haven't paid our fees. We don't own any fees.
You're totally separate from David's father, his situation. This is a completely different situation, and they're trying to use, verbal linguistics to sandwich smear you into a situation that you're not even a part of.
Yeah, we're all individuals, aren't we?
Exactly.
We're all individual people, and we all deserve a speedy trial. We all deserve to we're innocent until proven guilty. And my husband is sitting in there for what reason?
For taking pictures of the BLM and protecting his face when they pushed him on the ground.
Yes, exactly. And obviously becoming the leader of the militia.
Which is just insane.
Yesterday in the court, they used the word they all the time. They all the time. The defense attorney for it says, let's get to individual people. He's not they. It is Dave Bundy.
Right. To put him together with the others is irresponsible and reckless, and which adds to the case that the state or the local sheriff needs to actually take action and actually press charges on those involved in this. This is a conspiracy of the federal government that is conspiring against your against your husband, to put him in prison for something that they accuse others of doing.
Yes. And for them to sit there and say, we don't believe in the government, that is not true. We don't believe in the overreaching of the government and what they're doing to the individuals here in America.
Looks like they're accusing you of what they're doing. They're the ones that are anti-Constitution. They're the ones that are the government that is established here, and taking action to thwart that, the Constitution. And to accuse him of actions that he didn't take, and then to smear him, to say that he talk about more about what they tried to accuse him of being against his own church. I mean, that's just crazy.
You know, he just mentioned that really fast.
It was just a way just to kind of smear him some more without having any evidence for it.
Yeah, just saying things. One other thing I want to mention, my church, they were trying to get my husband on that. He was a helicopter pilot. He went down to the Bundy Ranch. He flew he got a helicopter. He flew it around. That is, my husband flies airplanes. He doesn't fly helicopters. He doesn't even know how to fly a helicopter.
Well, and that's an irrelevant thing anyways, to say that makes him a flight risk, that he can fly an airplane. I mean, if you can drive a car, you can flee. That would mean that anybody with a driver's license would be a flight risk, and we've got to stop anybody with a driver's license from being able to have bail.
And let me tell you how honest my husband is. My husband is the most honest person there is out there. They got upset with us because we didn't report income from my husband flying for a certain company. The reason why we didn't report income is because my husband never got paid from that company to fly their airplane. He never asked for money to fly their airplane. He only did it because he's a good person, and he appreciated the opportunity that those people gave him to be able to fly an airplane.
Wow.
And they couldn't get out. They just could not get past some of these things. Calling him a liar for not reporting the income, there was no income to report.
So just making up stuff, lying to be able to get the judge to go along with their scheme to put your husband in jail.
Yes.
It's outrageous that they would try and just go after the entire family. It's like an organized campaign to put fear into the hearts of Americans to never again stand up against the tyranny that would be imposed upon them.
Well, how do you think I felt yesterday as I left that place, thinking, are they going to come for me next?
Exactly.
If I speak out, I thought that you could do that in America. I thought you could speak out in America.
If your government supports the Constitution.
I have 6 beautiful children, my husband and I have. They need their father home.
Right now.
The emotional stress that it is putting on our family is unimaginable. It's not fair.
It's disturbing, and I appreciate your bravery. You are so brave for coming on and talking to us about this. I hope all of our listeners will call for the governor to send the state police to free David Bundy now, that the Weber County Sheriff will send his deputies to free David Bundy now. David Bundy needs to be freed. He is the epitome of a political prisoner that is only in jail for speaking the truth, for speaking his opinion, and for taking a picture. If we can go to jail for taking a picture,
then nobody's safe.
Nobody is safe. And so we need to stand up right now if you want to be protected. This is the time to stand up right now and call on the governor and call on the sheriff to free David Bundy now. This is in Utah. This isn't some other state that we can't do anything about, that we're like, oh, wow, this is happening right here, right now, and if he's not safe, you're not safe. Where can our listeners go to support you?
Yeah, if my husband, all he does is post on a Facebook page, whatever it takes, I can't imagine what other people are going to do.
I'll be in big trouble, that's for sure. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, I believe that the truth will come out. I believe that with God on our side, we cannot fail. And I also believe that as long as we stand for freedom, we believe in God. And I understand if you guys cannot contribute to, but please continue to pray for these political prisoners and educate yourself and your children. If it's happening now, what do you think is going to be happening tomorrow?
Exactly. It's only getting worse.
And that website was fundedjustice.com.
Yes.
And if you just search in the search for the word Bundy, it'll come up. There's Ammon Bundy's, and then there's Dave Bundy's defense right there.
And so we need your help to be able to help this. Please, like you said, we want all of our listeners to pray. Call the governor, demand his release. Call the sheriff of Weber County, demand his release. Donate to be able to get a competent defense for this ridiculous charges that have been placed upon your husband. Thank you
Yes,
so much
exactly.
for coming on, Marylynn. This is Ben McClintock and Enoch Moore with DefendingUtah.org, and this is the Naked Truth segment of the Liberty Lineup, sponsored by Patriot Mobile, the cell phone service that supports conservative candidates and causes. Go to patriotmobile.com and mention the Liberty Lineup radio show. This interview and all the information will be on our website, to Liberty Lineup, as well as Defending Utah.